So the first pipe smoke in, I don't remember, 2 weeks maybe. Smoking some GL Pease Key Largo. Deep, earthy, and creamy. So I figured, you know, if I'm going to smoke something, I want it to have some body to it. I want to be able to taste it, right? Since that has been my issue, is I have not been able to taste or smell for like a solid week or more. And I can taste this, and my sense of smell has returned. I would say 80 to 90%. That's the neighbors, don't mind them. He's a yeller. Yeah, I love my neighbors, I really do, but they just live differently than I do. You know, it's okay, whatever. But good for entertainment sometimes. So it's a distinguished broken flake of red Virginia tobacco, small leaf orientals, and a measure of Cyprian Latakia spiced with velvety cigar wrapper leaf. Well, what do you know? Cigar leaf is pretty subtle. But it's a good little mixture from GL Pease. I like that. I can taste it. not profoundly, but way better than it was. Way better. So I'm smoking this. You know, after you haven't smoked in a while, too, you think, oh, what pipe do I want to smoke? You know, that's part of the fun of pipe smoking, too. You know, it's what tobacco and what pipe. And for some people, which lighter, I suppose. Which smoking jacket? I don't. My smoking jacket, my Filson field jacket. It's actually a little chilly today for this jacket. But today I was working with my employer on making up food boxes for families. So that was fun on in a number of ways. First of all, it's, you know, you're being useful. Second of all, I was working with a bunch of really fun people, and we were doing it safely. We were all wearing masks, gloves, had answered a questionnaire beforehand, had our temperature taken, and we were keeping it to one person assembling each box. So there were fewer hands involved with each box. And then when we delivered them, I delivered some, you go up, you knock on the door, you leave the food box right there on their door, and then they pick it up. So it's very safe. But as safe as it can be. So I really hadn't been with a group of people for a while, you know, since I was down in Corvallis, basically. And even then, not at all, but just I was around people and just kind of, before everything got locked down, restaurants were closed, but still, I was around people. So today was really nice because not only was I around people, but we could talk. Oh my gosh, we could talk, and we were doing something together that had meaning, and they're all characters anyway, so it was a lot of fun. So anyway, this pipe, this is a Custom-Bilt. I would call that a scoop. I don't know what you'd call that shape. It's husky, and the lettering is just about gone, and it won't be able to focus on that, I'm sure, but it is in script Custom-Bilt. So from the 1946 or 1938 to 46 period. This is one of the granddaddy pipes, granddaddy custom-built. And it's kind of that wide, shallow shape. So this Key Largo, there's just like a little bit left in there, and it's pretty dry. But that's what I wanted, so that it would burn, because the Latakia, oftentimes, I've smoked it just by itself before, and it's really hard to stay lit. So this is burning pretty good. And I always told myself if I was addicted to nicotine, I would have to quit smoking. So 2 weeks without a smoke, no problem. It's not like I laid awake craving, I had cold sweats, you know, none of that. So it's just a pleasure for me. It's just I don't know, it's just kind of a link to the past. It's kind of a masculine thing, so it's a link to other men. It's everything but addiction, quite frankly. So that's just me. So anyway, we had a really good time making up those boxes. We did 120 of them, and I just work with some really fine people, and it's a privilege for me to be there doing that, quite honestly. So that was abundantly clear today. Yeah. So anyway, this little epidemic we're going through. You know, last time I think I made a video. I had 3 contacts of people who tested positive. Well, one of those turned out to test negative, although that person had every single symptom, including the lack of smell. You know, the chills, the cough, the headache, the respiratory, you know, can't breathe, temperature, fever, had it all. And I thought for sure that person was going to test positive. Well, it turns out he was tested, but it took a week and a half to get his results back. Something wrong with that picture. The whole testing thing is just crap. Anyway, he tested negative. So, what do you know? So I had 2 contacts, and then my own little symptom of lack of smell, lack of taste, and there's a technical name for that, and I can never remember what that is. Agnos something or other. Anyway. So, in the UK, the Professional Society of Ear, Nose, Throat Docs put out a bulletin saying that let's see, I forget how they worded that exactly, but a red flag to ENT docs that if somebody expresses a symptom of lack of smell, lack of taste, even if that is the only symptom, a sign is something the doctor sees. You know, your lack of color, I don't know, a variety of things. A symptom is something the patient expresses, right? So the patient would express, oh, I can't smell anything and I can't taste anything. Especially in young people, they said, between 1/3 and 2/3 of young people who tested positive in Iran and other places have expressed the lack of taste and smell, even if that was their only symptom. So, more research is needed, but it appears that that is something that would be a red flag for COVID-19, or for having the SARS-2 virus. So, anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. So, you know, I had expressed that my lab, local lab, would not test because of their feeling that too many false positives were resulting from asymptomatic people being tested. Whether they're, for whatever reason, it would be pure supposition. So I could suppose something, but, you know, that'd be worth about the smell of sulfur on this match, which I'm going to wait because there's a little breeze wafting through. Still a little smoke going on there. So, in fact, that may just have to do. So they wouldn't test me, but then my doc said, well, you know, you need to self-quarantine from a high index of suspicion and an abundance of caution for 14 days. Okay, so I was. I alerted the fire department, and they said, okay, you can't respond from home. Okay. I missed a couple of fires. So, a really nice guy on here dropped me a note, and he said, get a hold of me. And so he offered that his company has self-test kits. And so we did that. I did that on Friday. But the FedEx Overnight Express thing listed several places where I could make the... I was delivered the kit at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And so I was ready to drop it off by, you know, I was hoping there'd be a 5 o'clock drop-off point. Well, there was one, but it was in a locked office building that the box was completely inaccessible. So there was a 3 p.m. drop-off, which I missed, at a office supply store. So I did that. I just threw it in the box and said, all right, they'll get it Tuesday, because they'll pick it up Monday, overnight it. They'll get it Tuesday. And sure enough, that's how it worked. And I'm negative. Yay. Whatever it is would be fine. What it is, right? Now, the antigen tests only tell you if you have active virus. So once the virus has run its course, you no longer are spewing viruses, and so you will test negative, even if you were rigorously positive for a while. So you have to catch it at the right time, and presumably we did. But like all tests, it's not absolutely cut and dried, interestingly. So it has to meet a certain threshold to be a positive test. And there was a little bit of question about mine. Probably cleared up. And we're going to go with negative, because that is the official certified test result. And so that is what I am going with. And that freed me from jail. That allowed me today to go and work with my coworkers building those food boxes and delivering them, and that was awesome. And I can respond with the fire department. So I am a happy camper. It doesn't change much else, honestly. It really doesn't. It just doesn't. So, you know, we're still being absolutely safe. We're, you you know, trying to see as few people as possible, have as few contacts as possible, because it can happen quick. You know, my contacts were just like being handed a package and taking a package from a person who was handling it. And that's, wow, that's a pretty, and being within less than a meter. So it can happen really quick. And I can see, I went down to the post office today and picked up my mail, and you can see that people are much more cautious than they were about maintaining social distance. So what the long-term effects of that are going to be, I don't know. Oh my gosh, who knows? So a little Puro, because it's in the afternoon, so it's a non-caffeinated beverage, but kind of like coffee. With one of my weaknesses, I'm embarrassed to admit it, it's those liquid refrigerated creamers. I can certainly drink my coffee black, and I always did, basically. But I kind of discovered those, and it's a guilty pleasure. So, so anyway, I am back amongst the living. Not that I ever really wasn't. I mean, you know, your status is what your status is. What I'm waiting for now is the antibody test to see if I have had it, because that will, for instance, Campbell Teaching on YouTube, great source of information. I recommend him. Again, I'll put a link down below. Today's video, he was talking about how in Thailand they have developed this test that is very inexpensive. It's like $5 or something. And it is much like a pregnancy test kit. You know, it kind of looks like that. So, which I have to admit I have no familiarity with. So I'm taking it on spoken descriptions. But he kind of drew what one looked like. And you just do a pinprick on your finger and put your blood on a little spot on the kit, and then it filters in and produces potentially 2 lines. It'll produce 1 line, and if that's all that shows, then you're negative. But if it produces a 2nd line higher than that, then you're positive. So these kits are being dispensed throughout Thailand. We need those. We need those kits. Yes, we do. So, how can they have them and we don't? I call that mismanagement and a lack of political efficiency in finding the best solutions. Damn it. That's what we need, because we need data. He was also talking today about, John Campbell, about their statisticians are working up mathematical models based on solid data, and they are mathematical models, talking about how many people are affected by this, meaning have been exposed to the virus. You know, we have a pretty good count of how many people have died. That is kind of like the one good number we have. The other numbers, though, we have shit for data. I mean, I'm sorry to use language like that, but that's all it is. It is just crap data. So we just need more data. And scientists know this. Politicians apparently don't. I don't know. Anyway. Hopefully we'll get there. We should have been there already for weeks, but we aren't. So hopefully we'll get there. But many people are asymptomatic. And I'll do an analogy here. It may be imperfect. Of course it is. So let's say the government, I hear traffic up on the highway there. The government says, oh my God, look at that. We're in the United States, we're killing 40,000 people a year. That was 2017. 2018 was like 40,000. No, 41,000 in 2017, 40,000 in 2018, and like 39,000 in 2019. So that's a lot of people. Oh my God, people are dying right and left on the highways. We have to stop this. We have to do something about it. But they don't have any data. They don't have any idea what's killing people other than they're getting in auto wrecks, right? So they say, okay, our number one goal is to cut the death rate here and prevent deaths by auto accident. So what we're going to do is we are going to prohibit everybody from driving. Because clearly if we do that, there won't be any more auto accidents, right? And we'll allow emergency vehicles, we'll allow freight, we'll allow mass transit, say. But personal vehicles will not be allowed. And so, whoa, everybody is in lockdown with their personal vehicles. Well, once you start getting some data, you realize that drunk drivers, distracted drivers, and inexperienced drivers under the age of 25, and honestly, sometimes really old drivers cause a large portion of the wrecks, right? So that's called data acquisition and allows you a better picture of what's happening. And so then you can go in and focus on those areas and improve safety in those areas while allowing the vast majority of people to continue driving. But until you do that, until you have that data, you just lock the whole thing down. Well, there are a lot of us out there, and who knows about me, I don't know, who have had this, didn't know they had it, and now would test positive for the antibody test. And you're immune, you're not spewing virus. Go back to work, you know, be useful in society. There is zero reason you should be locked up at home. But we just don't have the data. So we will eventually, if we do the appropriate testing, have that data. And that's what we need. So we're not there yet, so we gotta, to bring the death rate down, we do have to self-isolate, because we just don't know who has it and who doesn't. But anyway. Well, so I'm pretty much back to where I was. Yay! All right.